What up, everyone? I'm the one, the only Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw. Yeah, yeah, man. How's everyone doing out there? For those of you that watch this show, I do a movie review here and there, and a wrestling review, and this review, and that review, and you know, if you know me, you know that I love me some sci-fi, some robots, yeah. But I ain't talking about R2D2 in this one, baby. Yeah. I'm actually talking about another movie from the 80s. Two of them, as a matter of fact. And the sequel is just as good as the original. One of the few times where the sequel is just as good. I'm talking about Short Circuit 1 and Short Circuit 2. I bought that little gem literally in a $5 bin, where you can get a lot of different movies. Like, people think that since movies are old, they shouldn't watch them. That is a load of bullshit. Sometimes you find a lot of good things from watching older movies instead of just watching the new stuff and the new stuff and the new stuff. Get a different perspective, man. Anyway, Short Circuit, check it out. About this robot right here. His name is Johnny 5. Well, he starts out as just number 5. They're military built robots, built to hunt, to kill. They have a laser beam that could take out a tank. So these robots are the next answer in a civil defense. Now, keep in mind, during this time, we were still like towards the end of a Cold War. This is like '86 with Russia, so there was a lot of military hoo-ha, Rambo and such. So they build these machines in order to, kind of like save veterans' lives. And these machines test really well. As you can see, they have tight like tank tread so they can go over rough environments. So these machines were built for a lot of basically the stuff the grunts do. And so these machines end up being a success. And when they're loading them in, one of the machines ends up getting struck by lightning. Boom! And what happens after it gets struck by lightning is that the robot develops its own personality, its own sense of being, and decides that it does not want to stay there and be a military puppet, so it escapes. Now, it ends up finding a young girl, and the young girl is played by Ali Sheedy. She's an actress from back in the day. And the other scientist, because there's two scientists, there's Dr. Ben Javetti and another scientist that's played by Steve Gutenberg. If you guys don't know who he is, he was in Police Academy. Nobody. He was in Ballers. He was the guy that paid for the stadium in that show with The Rock. And at any rate, the company loses it. The military starts looking for him, and they're in Wyoming, so they're kind of hiding him out. And there's a lot of funny scenes in part one, like where he gets the robots to do like a Three Stooges thing because he shorts them out. J5 actually manages to outwit all of these people that are coming after him. So the military wants him back because they can't let a killer robot loose. They actually don't know that he has his own personality. They just know that this robot is, well, a killing machine. And you wouldn't want to accidentally release Terminator on a sleepy town, would you? Or a populated town. It just does not look good for the military budget at hand. But, anyways, the robot escapes, and escapes in a very cool way. I really don't want to blow what happens, but he escapes, and they end up living together because the scientist ends up falling for the girl. Of course, this is a movie, and they form a family, which leads us to part 2. Now, if I had to pick, part 2 is probably my favorite. I don't know, it's hard to pick, but part 2, the other scientist, Ben, has fallen on hard times. He's in New York. He's living in his van. He's trying to get his citizenship because he's from India. So Ben's kind of in a bad situation. He's building mini Johnny 5 robots like RC robots. You know, like they go back and forth, they move around. They have a modicum of intelligence, not a lot. And what happens is this toy maker, who she's not really doing too good. You know, she's trying to look for the next big toy. One of the robots gets loose, and it actually ends up in her office. And she finds Ben, and Ben falls for her immediately. And Ben meets this other guy, this hustler, one of my other favorite characters in the story, Fred. Now, Fred is just a typical New York scumbag, hustling, trying to make whatever money he can, trying to make whatever dollars he can in order to get himself ahead in this world. I can respect that. You can't knock the hustle, man. Anyways, he's selling fake Rolexes. He meets Ben. He's trying to sell him one, of course. The lady comes up with a robot. Ben is not really good at negotiating, but Fred is. So Fred actually sort of worms his way into being Ben's partner, because Ben has no street knowledge. He has no sense of New York. Fred was raised there, and they kind of become partners because Fred needs this big payday, because he owes a lot of people a lot of money. So he needs that check quick. So he borrows whatever he can and uses whatever credit he has left. To Fred's credit, he took out a sizable loan when he already owed a sizable loan, because he believed in Ben and he believed that this was his payday. So Fred literally puts his ass on the line here. And so they get a cheap mannequin factory they're going to knock down in like a month. And they start building these robots. The problem is that this cheap, no good for nothing building is across the street from a bank where they're bringing in these wonderful diamonds. I guess they're called the Vanderveer collection or whatever. Oh my lord, beautiful bling. You walk into that medallion like that, it's like a chick with fine tits at the club. All the bitches be like, you know, just like all the way the men are when they look at that fine. But anyways, these diamonds are magnificent. I can't go on. I can't stress on how magnificent they are. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. Anyways, these guys try to rob this area. They've been digging a tunnel under there. But since Ben and Fred moved in, they haven't been able to dig, and they only have a certain amount of time before the diamonds go. So they try getting rid of them. J5, of course, military robot, takes care of them, so they find a way to circumvent that. There's another guy. He's kind of like a banker. He works at the bank. He's in with the thieves. He ends up befriending Five and tricks him into stealing the diamonds. And then it goes into this big old chase. Like, there's a lot. I'm leaving out a lot of stuff in these movies. I really want you to watch them. I mean, there's even a scene where J5 flies in a hang glider in New York. It's really cool. And yes, one thing that I left out. This is one thing that's really important. J5 is hungry for input. He reads books like speed reads. Boom, and the book's done. So in New York, he goes crazy for input. But anyways, they get the diamonds. They end up betraying J5. They kind of beat his ass really bad. Really, really fucking bad. And Fred kind of ends up helping him because Ben is indisposed at the moment. They kind of frame him and the girlfriend for the crime. So it's up to Fred and J5 to hunt these people down. And the manhunt is just awesome. And what J5 turns himself into a punk. Oh my god. So yeah, the movie is really good. You can kind of guess on what happens after that. I don't want to spoil the ending because of the chase. There's an awesome chase with Fred riding on top of J5. And you can actually see this. This is good effects for the 80s. You know, one was in 86, one was in 88. The effects still stand up. So, like I said, this movie's very fun. Both of them. They're worth watching. And if you just want to kill some time with a good movie that has a lot of laughs, a little bit of sadness, but just a good time, I highly recommend Short Circuit 1 and Short Circuit 2. I mean, this is a great double feature. You can watch it with your kids. See, look, this is a better picture of J5. This is something you can watch with your kids. This is something you can enjoy too, because there's an adult joke squeezed in every here and there that only adults would get, but the kids would giggle at. So it's a little bit for everyone. I do recommend these movies if you're bored, rainy day, snow day, what do they call it, virus day, whatever. Since you can't say the C word. I'm gonna make a video on the things that you can't say on this channel now. We have freedom of speech, goddammit, and you can't say certain words. God. Anyways, I highly, highly recommend these. Like I said, it's just a good time. Part one's good, part two's good, and you'll have a fun time watching these movies with or without kids. Even if you're just looking for something good to watch and you just enjoy comedy and sci-fi, these movies are for you. So yes, Short Circuit 1 and 2. They're probably in one of the many systems, Netflix, Pluto, Hulu, whatever. I found this one in a bargain bin at Wally World. So if you see it, pick it up. If you see it on the telly, I suggest watching it. Very good. Very enjoyable. And this is Jack Slater, the Comic Outlaw, doing my review, as I always do. We're going to be bringing you more movies, more talks on wrestling, more comic book stuff coming up. I might have a guest or two. You never know. So as always, this is Jack Slater, the Comic Outlaw. And as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah!